Hello and welcome to JP5Takes, and here I'll be talking about my 5 takes from week 15. So let's get started. First, I'm going to tell you the 5 things I'm going to talk about. Number one, does the Steelers have the answer at quarterback? Number two is could the Chiefs be a sneaky Super Bowl contender? Number three is Cowboys and Eagles, who has the edge? So I guess that's more about next week instead of this previous week. But the number four is there's a lot of older quarterbacks that could be, not for the same team they've been playing for. So should someone pick them up or should they just retire? Number five is my predictions on who makes the playoffs in the AFC and NFC. Okay, so let's start with the Steelers. Duck Hodges, as he's called. And I guess Mason Rudolph, we're going to throw him in there. But, I think after you get benched and the coach makes those comments that he made about Rudolph, about not, that he was killing them, I don't know if you go back to him after that. So I kind of take Hodges out of the equation here because I don't think he's the guy. It's just weird to go back to the guy that you just kind of insulted like that. But anyway, Duck Hodges, I think he's a decent quarterback, especially for what they're doing right now, and that is playing really great defense. Their defense is, amazing. And so they're playing great defense, and he was playing mistake-free football, except for the game in Buffalo, because that was against a good defense. I was looking at a stat line, which is 884 yards, 67% completions, which is pretty decent. 5 touchdowns, 6 picks, which that sounds bad. But honestly, if you take out the 4 picks he had last week, and even if you take out the touchdown he threw last week, he would be 4-1, which, 4-2, actually, because he had 4 picks. Yeah. So, which is decent. My thing about Devin Hodges, and obviously he's still young, but me personally watching him, and I just feel like you can do a lot better than that. And for now, having him on the roster, and you just, this year just try to make the playoffs, and he's decent, he's taking care of the ball, and he's fine for what they have for what they're doing this year. But next year, I just don't know if I would stick with him. I just think he's just a game manager. But honestly, just say this defense wasn't playing this well, I don't think he'll be winning any games at all, honestly. So I'm just like, is that really the guy you want to go with? So, I know Pittsburgh fans, they like him because, one, they'll compare him to Rudolph, and Rudolph was a pick machine. But, I feel like maybe you keep him on the roster, maybe he gets, some growth, and, he plays better. But for now, I think, for me personally, I would try to move in a different direction. Hopefully for the Steelers, and if the Steelers want to do this, then I'm okay with it. Like if Big Ben does come back and he plays next year, you keep Devin Hodges as the backup, and you hope maybe that he grows and gets a little bit better for the next time he gets a shot. But I think when Big Ben's serious about retiring, if he's serious about whenever he does this is my last year. If Devin Hodges is still this Devin Hodges, I think I would go in a different direction. I think he's just a decent game manager, but he's not going to win you a bunch of games if you don't have a good defense. If the Steelers has even a mediocre defense, yeah, they wouldn't be making the playoffs. It's just that simple. And I looked at the teams that he played, decent, but not great. It's against Chargers, bad defense. Bengals, bad defense. Browns, bad defense. Cardinals, bad defense. So he had 4 good, and not even good, I would say slightly above average games against bad defenses. And then he played his first real test and good defense, and he struggled big time. So, if I was the Steelers, I think I would move on. I don't think, at least right now, he's not showing any signs that he's the guy I want to build around. I just think he's limited in a lot of stuff. I would try to draft a quarterback. Again, unless... maybe you want to sit him for another year. He might come out better, but he was a late draft pick for a reason. So I would just move on, but we'll see what Pittsburgh does. And I know a lot of Steelers feel that they really like him. And again, one, because they're comparing him to Rudolph, and two, they're grateful for him just coming in and managing the ship, and they're not, and now because of him, they're making the playoffs, which I'm like, I think that's more the defense than him. But anyway, so number two, we're talking about, can the Chiefs be a sneaky contender? The reason I say sneaky, you're like, well, if you have Mahomes, can you be sneaky? Well, they lost a lot of games early on this year, so people wasn't really considering him as a contender. People was talking about the Patriots and the Ravens and the Saints and 49ers and Packers. But the Chiefs have been stringing on some wins here together. Mahomes is still playing well, and he's playing well when he's hurt. He's got an ankle injury, then he had that knee injury, and I'm pretty sure he has something wrong with his hand now. But their offense is still fourth in scoring. They're third in passing. Here's the thing: the defense, when points allowed, is actually 11th, which is really good for the Chiefs. I mean, for the Chiefs, that's really good. There's two things that kind of scare me a little bit. Two things that scare me that you kind of need for defense is the rush attack is 25th, and the run stop is 26th. So 25th running, 26th, and stopping the run. That is not a good recipe for the playoffs. But I think for the Chiefs, though, maybe now that people's not really putting you as the top dogs right now, because I think they have like 4 losers. Maybe that means they'll take you lightly, and you don't do that. I don't care, how bad the run attack is. If you take Mahomes lightly, he'll beat you. And so, I think if Mahomes can get healthy, I think they're primed to make a good deep playoff push. Because I could see this being that perfect team that's good, and not many people, but not as good as the Ravens and Patriots on at least not how they've been playing. So I can see them come out there and playing because people's not taking them serious enough, come out there and surprising some people. Can they beat the Ravens? I think so. I think Ravens are the people to beat right now. I think the Chiefs can beat them. I really do. It would be definitely a high-scoring game. I'll say that. It'd be a high-scoring game, but I think the Chiefs could definitely beat them. So I think that's a team that we should keep an eye on. Again, they lost like a lot of games early, so people are like, oh, the Chiefs are not the same this year. But now they've been putting some wins together, so let's keep an eye on them. I think they can make a deep playoff push. So anyway, look for that. Okay, number 3 is the Cowboys and Eagles. I'll say this, my in-laws are Eagle fans. So I'm kind of, when the Titans aren't playing or the Titans not in the playoff picture, I root for the Eagles. So I hope the Eagles win this game because if Eagles lose, the division's over. But I don't think they're going to win it. I'm going to point blank say that. Here's some things I was going to say. Eagles, the 12th in points allowed, 12th in points, and 16th in points allowed. 12, that's all right, especially for the injuries they had. But then with the Cowboys, the 5th in scoring and 12th in points allowed. So they allow less points and they score more points. That's not a good combination. Eagles, I hardly blame them. They are ravished with injuries. They are just... I'm looking at that offense because I was watching them last week, and I'm like, I guess I said last week. I guess that's 3 days ago. But anyway, I was like, I don't even know these people that's out here playing. Like, who are these guys? I know the practice squad, but they came in clutch like Ward did. What's that guy? Something Scott, I think. He played well. I'm impressed with what they're doing with that roster. But at the end of the day, I think the Cowboys are going to go in there and beat them. I think Cowboys look like maybe they're getting something figured out against the Rams. They just laid it to the Rams. And you know what I think it is? It's the same thing I've been saying all year. I think with Kellen Moore, maybe the Cowboys got a little too cute. And I think Dak's a decent quarterback, but he's not great. But I think they instead try to throw the ball and then run. And Cowboys are not built that way. Cowboys are not that team. You should run and then throw. And that's exactly what they did. Dak was more of that 20 to 25 throwing. They ran the ball and ran it well. That's the Cowboys' secret success, and if they found that out, Eagles, I don't think is going to do very well at all. I think this has been lately this year, they've been just trying to get a little too cute, and it hasn't been working out well for them. The only thing I say keep an eye on, is that the Eagles' defense is I can't remember the run defense is. I think like fourth overall, which is really good. Yeah, I actually think that's what it is. Fourth overall. Obviously, Cowboys want to run the ball. So if the Eagles can stop the Cowboys from running, and then Dak is going to try to throw it, I think they have more chance to succeed. Yeah, the Eagles' secondary is really bad, but Dak Prescott has that problem with his hand. I can't remember exactly what finger it is, but one of his fingers, they think they have a hairline infraction. So, would that change the way he throws? Would he be more inaccurate? Would he turn the ball over more? That would be something I'm going to keep an eye on. Because again, with Dak's hand hunting, I think the Cowboys will be very much interested in running the ball. If the Eagles can shut that down, maybe, just maybe, they can force some turnovers or something and get a shocking win here. But that I think that's you have to stop Ezekiel Elliott. And again, the Eagles' run defense is good, but the problem is they've always struggled with Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, I know a lot of teams do, but I mean, I feel like it doesn't matter how good the run stop is, when they play against the Cowboys, they can't stop Ezekiel Elliott. But anyway, so yeah, that's the key. You gotta stop him. And this is no disrespect for Dak, but with that hand hurting like it is, I think you would want him to stop throwing the ball. And when you do that, you give yourself a little bit better chance to win. So anyway, but my conclusion is I think Cowboys are gonna win this one. And sadly, I think they're gonna win pretty good. Like 17-30, something like that. I hope not, but no offense to Cowboy fans, but that's what I think is gonna happen. So let's talk about the older quarterbacks. Eli Manning, Philip Rivers, or Tom Brady. That's the three I'm talking about. There's some other quarterbacks that could be moving: Cam Newton, Derek Carr, Andy Dalton. But those people are really, they're decent, but they're not great. But these are three quarterbacks that's been great for a while. Eli Manning, questionable if he's been great in his career, but he's won 2 Super Bowls, so that gives him, some respect here. Eli Manning's completion percentage is 61 for 1,042 yards, 6 touchdowns, 5 picks, 82 quarterback rating. I'll say this. He hasn't had, to me, a huge drop-off in the last couple of years as the other two have. But the thing is, the last couple of years, he hasn't been that good to begin with. So I'm not even saying he's been good. 6 touchdowns, 5 picks, 82 quarterback rating. You can do better than that. And you have Daniel Jones. So I'm thinking the Giants are going to move on. I really do. Then the question should another team be interested in Eli Manning? I personally, here's the thing. If I was a GM, I would not be interested in him at all, unless he wants to be maybe a backup, and he could be a good role model for a young quarterback or something. But me personally, I would not be interested in him. But I think there's going to be some team that's going to be like, oh, this is a 2-time Super Bowl winning champion here, and they're going to go for him. And I think that'd be a bad decision. I personally would move on from him. I don't think Eli Manning would not play for another team. I think he would if he wants to keep playing. But should he retire? I think so. I think this is not what I think he'll do necessarily, but what I think he should do. I mean, you played 16 years for the Giants. You won 2 Super Bowl with the Giants. You're not playing that well. You're not playing at a high level. You'll do nothing but, to me, hurting yourself a little bit, maybe. Just keep watching him play and not play that well. I think that hurts the legacy a little bit. I think he should retire. But I do think there might be a small market for him, just because, again, winning 2 Super Bowls, a lot of teams are going to be interested in that, even though that was many years ago. Then Philip Rivers, he's 65% completions, 4,055 yards, which is pretty good. But then his touchdowns and picks is 21-18, and with an 89 rating. I'll say this: Rivers still throwing a lot of yards, so it doesn't look like his arm is like tiring out or anything. 89 quarterback rating is slightly below league average. But what concerns me is 18 picks. That is, I think, second most behind Jameis Winston. 18 picks. That's just too much. 21 touchdowns is not bad, but 18 picks is just too much. And he's just turning the ball over. He's always had a tendency of doing that, but he's still doing it, and I think he's doing it at more of a alarming rate. And it's sad because I wanted him to win a Super Bowl before it's over, but I don't think so. I think next year he's going to... I think Philip Rivers now, this will be his first year of decline. That's how I feel. I think the Chargers could be moving on from him. It depends on if they try to draft a guy or not. Because my personal opinion, if you're not drafting somebody or trying to get someone for free agency to replace him, might as well stick with him. I would, unless you have someone you're trying to get for the future. Me personally, I would keep with Rivers instead of just getting a free agent like Andy Dalton, like Derek Carr, because they're like, to me, you get him, you're not gonna get much. You get those two, you're not gonna get much of a different production. And Philip Rivers, he's comfortable with the place, so might as well keep him. But if you wanna, I think it's time for San Diego to really. Oh wow, San Diego, LA. It's time for them to, I think, draft a guy. It really is. Maybe you keep Philip for another year. While this guy's on the bench, it depends on who it is they draft. But I think it's time to really hardcore start looking for a replacement because, again, I think at his age, you can't really expect the next year from him to get better and better and better. You expect it the other way around. And 18 picks, and he's not done yet. He's had 2 more weeks. If you throw 20 picks in the season, which he could do, that's just too much. It's just too much. Especially, usually if you keep a veteran, it's because they take care of the ball. He's not doing that. Anyway, so Tom Brady, who I think has made the biggest decline. And I know a lot of people talks about his weapons, and he doesn't have the weapons, and that is true. But I'll say this is how he has a decline. One thing I've been always impressed with Tom Brady is he can take people I don't even know that well and make them look like superstars. Okay, that's one thing he's done well his whole career. Well, he's definitely not doing that. So it definitely shows that he's, one, not the same quarterback he used to be. We could debate all we want on is he bad or is he just not as good. But I just definitely say he's definitely not the same quarterback as he once was. Because his completion percentage is 60. And in today's NFL, that's really bad. He's had several, probably 3 or 4 games with less than 50% completions, okay? That is really bad. So he's 60% completions, 3,565 yards, which is not terrible. But then he's 21 touchdowns, 7 picks. Now, I gotta admit, that ratio doesn't sound terrible. I mean, he's same amount of touchdowns as Philip Rivers, but he's 7 picks instead of 18 picks from Philip Rivers. So I'll give Tom Brady that. He's not really throwing picks. But the problem is he's not really making first downs or scoring touchdowns either. And his quarterback rating is 86. Again, I'll give Tom Brady, he's not turning the ball over. But you just look at him, that offense is stale. I think Tom Brady's being safer with the ball, which is one reason he's not throwing picks. But listen, Bill Belichick wanted to move on from Tom Brady when he was still good. He wanted to keep Jimmy Garoppolo and get rid of Tom Brady. Now that he's looking like this, and to me, this is a clear sign of, digression. He's getting worse. I think it's time to... I think Bill Belichick's going to move on from after this year. I really, really do. Which then begs the question, is someone going to get him? And just like I said with Eli Manning, and I'll say this, I meant to say this about Philip Rivers too. I'll say this with all 3 quarterbacks. I think someone's going to pick them up if they don't want to retire. I don't think Eli will, but I think it's more likely for him to retire than Philip Rivers and Tom Brady. I see more fire in Philip Rivers and Tom Brady's eyes than I do with Eli Manning. And again, I can't say for sure if I think Eli's going to retire, but I think he should. Philip Rivers, he's playing well enough. I mean, those picks scare me, but he's playing well enough. I'm not going to say he should retire. But, maybe he could go for a contender team and maybe have one more good run for the Super Bowl. Tom Brady, if I was him, I would retire. What else can you do? You won 6 Super Bowls. You've been to 9. You've been a great, great quarterback. Probably the GOAT. Do we really need to see another season with you with another team? Because I feel like if Tom Brady went for another team, he's going to be wanting to show, hey, look, I can be good without Bill Belichick. But I don't know if he can anymore. Maybe in his prime, you could take him out and he could play for anyone and make him look good. But this Tom Brady, I don't think so. So I think he would hurt his case about, I should deserve the credit, not Bill Belichick. I think he'll hurt that case, not help it if he leaves and plays for another team. I heard some rumor about Titans getting him, which I'm a Titan fan. No, I'm good. I wouldn't want him. Not anymore, I wouldn't. He just, man, when I watch him play, I'm like, this guy is not explosive at all. He doesn't like to get hit. That's another thing. I guess that's understandable when you're 42. But whenever someone breaks the line, he throws that ball away. Sometimes intentional grounding so fast. I don't want him. I'll keep away from him. Anyway, so that is my thing about the quarterback. So I guess to summarize that, Eli Manning should retire. Philip Rivers, I think maybe one more year, 2 more years with someone else, maybe try to make one more push for the Super Bowl. And Tom Brady, he should retire. So last but not least is my predictions on who makes the playoffs in AFC and NFC. And I'll say this, with both of them, AFC and NFC, the 6 teams that's in right now is, to me, the 6 teams that's going to stay in. No one from the bubble or in the hunt is going to get in. And then that's sad because the Titans are the team, the 7th seed, I guess. So we're going to be just out. I don't see us getting in. But anyway, so for the AFC, the number 1 seed, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, I have the New England Patriots. Number 3, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. I have them playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's the 6th seed. Then I have the number 4 seed is the Bills playing. Oh, no, wait. Number 4 is the Texans playing against the 5th seed Bills. So that's what I think. Some things can move around. I feel definitely Ravens and Patriots going to be 1 and 2. I'll say this. I feel pretty good about Steelers being 6th seed. They're not going to move up from that. They're going to probably stay there. Those are some interesting matchups, though. One, I think Chiefs will beat the Steelers, and I think the Bills will beat the Texans in that one. But we'll see. And then with the NFC, I had the Seahawks and the Saints. As the Seahawks is number 1 seed, which I hate because I really wanted the Saints to be number 1. But anyway, so Saints, I got them at the number 2 seed. So those are the 2 teams to buy. And then number 3 is the Vikings, and they're playing the number 4. I know this sounds crazy, but the 49ers, who's 6th. Then the 4th seed I have is the Cowboys, and they're playing the Packers. Then I think, again, those NFC more than AFC, there's so many good teams, so many teams I could see really making a good push for the Super Bowl. Honestly, except for the Cowboys, every single team, like if they end up being in the Super Bowl, I would not be shocked. Seahawks really good, Saints really good, Vikings really good, 49ers really good, and Packers really good. Cowboys are not really good, but someone's got to go from the NFC at least. But I'll say this. What was I going to say? Yeah, except for the Cowboys, the Vikings, 49ers, Packers, Saints, and Seahawks, except for the Ravens, to me, all those teams are better than the other teams on the AFC side. And it's kind of crazy how stacked the NFC is, But, again, I'm way more interested in watching the NFC and see how that plays out than the AFC. But I'm going to keep my hands on this so I can see how good I was and how accurate this is when the playoffs actually start. We have 2 weeks left. So some things could change, but I know there's a lot of locking situations this week that, could lock in certain things. But anyway, so we'll see. Can't wait for the playoffs to start. I know Titans are not legit, we're not out of it technically, but it's such a long shot that to me, I feel like we're out of it. So it's another year that we start off slow, we make a big push, we come short of the playoffs. This is probably like the 4th or 5th year in a row of that. But anyway, so now that, I was like, okay, Titan games are not even that important to me anymore. I am pretty